One of the things that I noticed as as I kept growing and learning more about various topics is that when it comes to health, there's a lot of massive disagreement as to what's the right way to eat, what's best for longevity and how you feel and all these things. And I've done the keto diet before, and that seems to it helps me lose weight, certainly. I feel like I just melt weight off me when I do the keto diet. So you do, high protein, high fat, low carbs. But then there's other people who swear by whatever, the paleo diet, or, fill in the blank. There's 1,000 of these things out there. But there does appear to be still a debate as to how should you actually eat? What's the right way to quote unquote eat for health, for longevity, etc.? Well, things have gotten pretty kooky lately. Here's a good example from The Intercept. Fruity Pebbles and Lucky Charms threaten to block healthy food labeling guidelines in court. The FDA's proposed labeling requirement is facing backlash from processed food companies claiming the rule limits their free speech. So in other words, Fruity Pebbles is saying, we have a right to call our cereal healthy. We have a right to do that. And you're taking away our free speech rights if you say we can't call our food healthy. This is astonishing. This is a lot of people don't know this, but when you go to Vitamin Shop or GNC, the supplement stores, supplements are totally unregulated in this country. There's no rules. There's no government agency checking to make sure the label matches what's in it and to make sure there's no filler in there, like rice powder or whatever. Totally unregulated. It's the wild, wild west when you go to a supplement store. Now, with pharmaceuticals, it's a slightly different scenario. There is certainly some more regulation when it comes to pharmaceuticals, and they're required by law to tell you the side effects. That's why when you see those commercials, they're always could lead to dizziness, headache, nausea, et cetera, et cetera. But supplements are the wild, wild west. And there's been every study that I've seen on it, and we've covered them in the past. They say hey man, the stuff they say is on the label is not even what's in the thing. It could have a trace amount of the actual product in there, and then it's filled with soy powder or rice powder or whatever it is. They're total scam artists. Now, by the way, this shouldn't surprise you too much. When I think of supplement salesmen, the first one that pops in my mind, Alex Jones. Do you think he's getting all his stuff is pharmaceutical grade, perfect, regulated? Mwah. No, of course not. Of course not. Again, this just goes to show you how everything's a scam. Everything's a lie. The more you learn about it, you realize we're not nearly as advanced as we think we are. So they say in The Intercept, the makers of Fruity Pebbles, Fruit Loops, Lucky Charms, and other popular cereal brands are bitterly lobbying against a new Food and Drug Administration proposal that would prevent them from labeling their products as healthy. By the way, same thing with organic stuff. There aren't any rules around what you get to call organic and what you don't. So they could just slap an organic label on something, and it's not actually organic. The proposed FDA rule mandates that foods labeled as healthy must contain a major food group, such as dairy, fruits, or whole grains, and must fit certain limits on saturated fat, sodium, and added sugars. That sounds perfectly reasonable. The rule limits cereals, for example, to no more than 2.5 grams of sugar per serving in order to be labeled as healthy. A restriction food makers claim would exclude over 95% of ready-to-eat cereals on the market. Well, guess what? That's a sad day for you, cereal makers, isn't it? Now, you want to change your ingredients to fit the guidelines? By all means, go right ahead. But you can't say, we're going to serve you a heaping, gargantuan, colossal amount of sugar, and then you have to allow us to say it's healthy. In response, processed food companies that produce a variety of snacks, baked goods, pastas, and frozen pizzas are challenging the rules before they are finalized by the agency. Among the most vocal food companies are producers of high-sugar cereals, which are largely marketed to children and have been criticized as a driver of the obesity epidemic in America. That's amazing, if that's a big contributor. In a joint filing made last month, the largest cereal producers in the country, General Mills, Kellogg's, and Post Consumer Brands, decry the proposed nutritional criteria and threatened to file a lawsuit challenging the guidelines as a violation of corporate free speech rights. See, okay, look at how out of bounds the whole discussion is in this country. Corporate free speech rights are not a thing. They shouldn't be a thing. Corporations are not people. They are legal entities that are profit-making machines. Rights? They should have no rights whatsoever. None. But with our, bought and owned corporate judges in this country, well, Suddenly this is a debate. In a joint filing made last month, the largest cereal producers in the country, General Mills, Kellogg's, and Post Consumer Brands, decry the proposal. Oh, we already read that one. The rule, if finalized in its present form, the companies wrote, would be open to legal challenge and that it violates the First Amendment by prohibiting truthful, non-misleading claims in an unjustified manner. But it's not truthful and it's not non-misleading. It's not. The idea of a legal challenge may not be an idle threat. The public comment docket includes a filing from the Washington Legal Foundation, a shadowy nonprofit that litigates esoteric and often controversial business interests. The group filed a letter in opposition in the form of a legal brief laying out a broad case for a future court challenge against the FDA guidelines. So, guys, who do you think funds this shady group that wants to defend these companies? What a tough one. Let me think about it. Could it be the corporations that are making a tremendous amount of money and lying in the process? Could it be them funding this group? The FDA, the Washington Legal Foundation, wrote in its brief, cannot explain why consumers cannot make their own healthy decisions based on nutrition labeling data. Rather, it seeks to limit the food company speech. In other words, let them lie to the people, and then if the people are smart enough to see through the lie, then they won't buy it. If they're not, then they'll buy it. But either way, you should be happy with that. The group does not disclose its donors and did not respond to a request for comment. In previous years, the Corn Refiners Association, a lobby group that represents the high fructose corn syrup industry, has disclosed financial ties to the Washington Legal Foundation. Wow, what a surprise. What a surprise. Drug companies, including Purdue Pharma, the makers of OxyContin, have also used the Washington Legal Foundation to challenge government rules and establish legal precedent to reduce the ability for prosecutors to seek criminal charges for drug company executives. ConAgra, Ocean Spray, the American Frozen Food Institute, and the American Bakers Association similarly hinted at a legal threat to the FDA healthy food labeling rule. All four organizations cited constitutional issues with the proposed labeling requirements in letters to the agency. Look, here's the thing that annoys me, right? Like, I'm in favor in this country of these companies having the right to sell food that is horrible for you. You know, I love food that's horrible for me. Nobody loves fast food more than your boy. I dive head first into some Wendy's, into some McDeezax, into some Taco Beezy. I'm all in there, man. I live for it. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. I'm all in favor. If anybody ever tried to like ban these foods or ban the sugary cereals or whatever, I will lead the charge against that. I will say, I file this under the category of freedom. You'll take my fruity Pebbles from my cold, dead hands. But here's the thing. Just because I'm in favor of it being legal to sell said foods does not mean I'm in favor of these food companies being able to lie about their products. And they are effectively arguing for making lying legal because something free speech. You ain't got no free speech, bitch. You're a corporation. You're a corporation. So, like, why, whatever happened to just, like, basic common sense? You could sell whatever food you want, but it's got to be labeled accurately. And by the way, if we had big, bright labels saying what's healthy and what's not healthy, I think that'd be wonderful. And if it was honest, you would find out that 85% of the things in the grocery store are not healthy. But at least you'd have good information that you can then, make decisions based off of. And, if I'm the emperor of the household, I would probably get a bunch of foods that are not healthy for you, but have a lot of stuff that is healthy. And most people would probably have some sort of balanced approach like that as well. Yeah, we'll allow you can get two things that are not healthy for you. Get the Oreos and get the whatever the fuck. But, a lot of the stuff, we're going to buy the healthy stuff. But there's no honesty in the system. This is corporate capture of government. And when the government tries, in the rare instance, to do something good, they're trying to block it and flexing their power and authority at the same time and using legal challenges. This is a frivolous lawsuit. Of course it is. They know their shit's not healthy. They don't care. They care about the profit. It's almost like there might be something wrong at the heart of the system that we have, huh? It's almost like maybe not everything should be for profit. Maybe the profit motive isn't great in every instance. Maybe some things are more important than that. Maybe there are other systems of government and industry that should take hold in certain sectors of the economy. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. This is something that The Onion couldn't parody this because reality is crazy enough. If you want to see me and Crystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West, and more, subscribe to Crystal, Kyle, and Friends on Substack. $5 a month gets you the video version a day early. Remember, we take 0 ad dollars for this podcast. Or you can sign up on Substack for free and get the audio version a day later. Link in the video description box below.